Appreciate it. All right. I got to do the whole spiel over again. What's going on, my beautiful people? Certified life and relationship coach. I hope I can edit that out early. Later on, that earlier part, I'm going to have to edit it out. But like I was saying, the one. Now, if you guys been following me for a while now, you guys will know that when people are really struggling and they say, hey, I lost the one person that I'd ever love or just love me for who I am, the love of my life. Someone wrote on my channel, hey, I lost the love of my life. And I said, that is a really daunting life you're going to be living. If you're 27, 28 years old and you feel like you've lost the love of your life, I don't believe in that, because throughout your life, throughout the different phases of your life, you're going to meet people that align with you where you're at that moment. All right, let's say that you meet someone at the age of 25. You're in the anime, you're in the video games, you're in the Marvel comic books, and then you meet a woman or a guy that's into that too. This person, like, oh, wow, we got the same things in common. We on the same trajectory in our life. You are the love of my life in this moment. You are the one for me right now. Let's say you turn 35. You guys both have kids. You don't watch TV anymore. You don't watch anime anymore. You're too busy at work. Will that person still be the one for you? You have to ask yourself that. I mean, seriously. If they're not, this is why they say if you're not growing together, you're growing apart. There is a trajectory of your life that's going to be going in a certain direction. And if that person is no longer compatible with you, if that person is no longer on that same trajectory or same path, they don't have the same goals as you are. I had a friend of mine that actually, what him and his wife did is they sat down, they wrote a business plan, like when you starting out a new business, you want to come up with a plan. They actually did it that way. They sat down, they put down different benchmarks that they would have to meet. All right, are we still in line with this goal? Are we still in line with that goal? Certain people might find that kind of weird to do, but I'm like, okay, that kind of sounds great, because then and then it's more of a logical decision then. Like if you get to the point where you're at in 5 years, you guys aren't on the same page and you're not seeing things eye to eye anymore, you don't have the same life goals and life ambitions anymore, then what are we doing? Then we're going to force it. You can't force, the saying, a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't work. So what's up, everybody? I'm doing great, Lata. It's good to see you. Don't be out here trying to change your spouse partner. You can't change them. Ace, what's up, Ace? Don, you guys are really on top of this sound issue. It's because of this mic. It's been a while since I've actually done a live session, but I've done some unplugging and some plugging. Let's prayers up for me to have a nice, steady, stable studio, because that's what I want. I want somewhere where I don't have to touch anything. I can just come in and just do what I'm going to do and keep it moving. But yeah, my office is constantly moving. I was down on Lake Michigan yesterday actually, for my coaching session. So it's constantly moving. You guys have any questions for me? Any questions? I'm here for you. It's summer. It's about to be summer in the city. I'm really excited. And something about, when the sun comes out, you just spring back to life. I really believe that one of my clients from London, like him and I, we go back and forth. He's just such a cool dude, man. He's teaching me a lot about just life in general. Like we're kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. The saying, iron sharpens iron. And he was saying, you might be vitamin D deficient. You might need to take a few supplements in order to get yourself right. And I started to do that, but I don't know if it's that or if it's like more sunlight coming out, but things are really, really feeling better for me now. And I kind of had like this grayness about myself. And also, I think I talked about this in my last session. When you give so much of yourself and when you do this type of work, it's not for the faint of heart. There is a creator, I'm not going to say his name, but he's got dreadlocks. He's not a relationship coach per se, but he's a motivator. He's an inspirational speaker. And he was saying that, he kind of has like social anxiety, but he also said he burnt out like 8 years ago, because when you give so much of yourself, and you're taking on people's stories, and you're just hearing all the pain and the misery in people's life, it's this class I took back when I was working with at-risk youth. It's called secondary trauma. You kind of take those things home with you. And before I got into this line of work, I was thinking of going to CPS work, Child Protective Services. I'm like, no, my heart just wouldn't be able to take, hearing certain stories and seeing certain scenarios that I can't do anything about, because usually that's what happens. I want a Lake Michigan session. I only get the office view. All right, I got you. Next session, we're going to do it on the lake. Do I just have to type? I was just watching a live you did last month about 5 steps to healing anxious attachment. Appreciate your support, Ace. Not taking a break from dating. All right, so I don't know if I said how I said it, but it is good to take a pause if you need to reset yourself. If you're really hung up on a person and you're going to go into these relationships and you know that your heart's just not there, it is good to take a pause and a reset to regain your independence again, and that you're not trying to just fill in another person in that seat that's empty now. But you can't do it for too long, because then you become more avoidant. If you don't practice it, you won't get good at it. So if there's something that, qualities and characteristics that you like about people, just start to take that down. Like, all right, I really like this about this person, but this here was a no-no. Like that's a deal breaker for me. That's not that's a standard that I'm not willing to, reduce. So if you need to take a pause, that's great, but you have to get yourself back out there and get in the scene again, because you run the risk of becoming an avoidant, and it's not fair for a person to come along, especially if you have a lot to bring to a relationship. It's not fair for you to completely cut people off and completely take yourself out of the dating game because of someone that hurt you. Afternoon, coach. Made it in just. What's up, Glenn? Yes, thoughts on my ex moving in with her rebound monkey branching in like 90 days, now engaged. We are in our early 50s. She's moved hours away from our town. In your 50s. That's a good question. All right, what age is it like considered it needs to be done? Because let me how do I want to phrase this? I think at a certain age you started to realize that, all right, I'm running out of time, and I don't have time to be wasting things. For perfect example, I was coaching someone, he was 42 and he was dealing with a girl that was 31, and she ended up monkey branching and getting into another relationship too. But he had already been with her for a long time. Like he was with her for 5 years. He was with her 5 years. And I'm trying to like keep it anonymous too. So, and he was ready to like, settle down, do this. And she was the one that was kind of like, I don't know about this. I don't know if I'm sure about this. And they kind of just went in this little cycle for a long time. And I said, I know how you feel, because you feel like your time is running out and she's got some years to play with. Like she's got some years to throw away. And whether you're willing to put up with that, it's on you. You kind of have to lead the relationship to where you want it to go. Like we're not spring chickens anymore. So if you want to like give her those years, because you're donating her years, especially when she's not willing to make a commitment to you in that way, then, at what age do you say, all right, it's time to stop playing around? Love that like button. He said, I went to fast, but all right, so I'm going to catch up with you here. AD, if a guy doesn't want to be exclusive after 2 months and I cut things off, but he still wants me in his life as friends, is there a chance for us? All right, so I'm all about the 90-day rule, and So if it's 90 days to 6 months and you're trying to force things right away, that's kind of a red flag, if I'm gonna be honest. If you're trying to get to a commitment that quickly when you don't really know the person, you don't know a person after 2 months. Like, let's just be honest. I don't care how much you've hung out together, you start to see character over time. You don't see character within a certain amount of number of dates. Like over time is when you start to see who they really are. Because I can tell you one thing: most relationships that start hot and heavy like that, where you're seeing each other 4 or 5 days a week, they burn out just as fast. And then it also lets them know that, the things that you've could have hidden over the course of months, they see those flaws right away. Or they see those, would it be flaws or would it be red flags? They see those red flags right away, really early. The DAs need extra prayers. Yeah, they do. They need people to understand them too. They really do. I think it's more important that the man I like has passion for something, even if it's just video games. Okay. Yes. Is it okay or toxic if a partner is trying to control whose friends you are with on social media? That is usually a sense of insecurity, um, which leads to toxicity because it leads to unnecessary conflict. And it's someone who isn't secure with themselves. So if they're trying to tell you who you can, and then also you have to, I see it from their point of view too. Are there certain boundaries that they talked about or they expressed to you that you aren't holding up to? Because for some people, that's a deal breaker for them. Some people, they understand just how divisive and how tempting social media can be. Social media, those Facebook and Instagram, it can be very unhealthy. Where let's say you're in a disagreement with the person that you're with, and the next person comes in and loves all your pictures and slides in your DM, and next thing you know, you're talking to them in an inappropriate way because you had that moment of weakness. No, maybe that's a deal breaker for that person. But if it's something like you're not giving them any reason to be envious or not even but jealous or insecure, and it's more like a control deal, what's the 90-day rule? The 90-day rule is you don't know who a person is before 90 days. Most relationships end within that first 90 days, where it either just tapers off, you stop talking to each other, the communication ends. That's kind of usually how it goes. If you look up, I don't even want to say his name because I don't want to get a strike here, but there is another guy who is pretty well known. He talks about the 90-day rule too. Look it up, the 90-day rule in dating. It's about finding out who a person really is. Exclusivity. Now that's when you start to do those exclusivity talks. Now this is something that I learned through watching other content creators and also some of the people that I've coached in my life. More women, they tend to want to get exclusive after that, like 2.5 months, 3 months, where they're comfortable with their feelings for you. They're feeling like, all right, where's this going? I don't want this person to, potentially be taken by someone else. And that's when they want to have that conversation. And it usually happens, 2, 3 months. And if a guy's trying to get you to settle down within that first month and say, hey, I want to do everything with you and, have babies with you right away, then that's more like a, I don't know about that. That feels a little fast, so uncomfortable. I've done it myself. Like, I'm gonna be 100% transparent. You guys know I'm an anxious attachment recovery. I've done it myself. And I was the red flag. Let's just be honest. I've been the red flag in my life. And it's kind of you really have to like reprogram that way of thinking. And I also wonder why I end up, because there's a book I read, No More Mr. Nice Guy. I've struggled with nice guy tendencies too. And I've talked about on my Instagram, you know, um, when someone is moving that fast, it's usually trying to prevent abandonment. And that's something I've always struggled with, this abandonment issues. And if I felt like I've just kind of hung back and just let things go with the flow, I still had that little voice in my head saying, well, what if you're not doing enough? What if you're not showing up, you're not doing too much for them, or what they feel is enough? Then we struggle. Then we struggle with where we're at in life. All right. Let me catch up here. Almost hump day. Appreciate you guys being here. I really do. Question. He's still talking to me, so how can I fix this? AD, just go with the flow, right? Just go with the flow. You don't have to the ages in 40s. And then that's another, all right, I'm gonna keep that there. Go with the flow, and you want to get to the point. You remember the old movies where one of my favorite movies was around Christmas time is It's a Wonderful Life, where is it George Bailey? Yeah, I think it was George Bailey. He was had these ambitions and these dreams to leave the town that he was in, and his dad wanted him to help him with the struggling business, or yeah, the struggling building and loan business that they had. And he wasn't trying to get in no relationship. He wasn't trying to be hunkered down, anything like that. He wanted to just go out and explore and see the world. And the girl that pursued him had other ideas. She saw that he was a catch, and she was really into him. And it took her to say, hey, I want you to be with me, for him to finally say, you know what? This is the way nature has called it to be, willed it to be, when he wasn't chasing after her so much, or he wasn't like giving more of his attention and time than she wanted. Because I don't know if you guys, and ladies, you in the chat, like, you can agree with this. When there's a guy that's giving you too much of his time and attention, and he almost is coming off as a little bit needy and desperate, anxious, attachy, it kind of turns you off, and it makes you feel like this isn't the way that it's supposed to be. I don't know why I feel that way. My friends love him, my family love him. On paper, he's got a good job, he's got this and that going on, but it just feels, I just don't feel it for him, because he's chasing after you. And that's probably, AD, if that's probably the reason why you're still so attracted to him and still wanting to be in a relationship with him, because the dynamic hasn't shifted and changed. Now, there is a balance there. There is a balance that needs to be had there, where a person has to show some sort of interest and some sort of like attraction towards you. And if he is doing that, then you have to ask yourself, why do I need this commitment so fast? Am I trying to prevent the abandonment? You have to ask yourself that one. Coach, we've been friends for 15 years. I'm trying to keep up with these questions. All right, how do you feel about people rebounding the people they previously had kids with? Does it often work out, or does that create a toxic environment and could cause harm in the end? Well, there is a history there. There is. I would be wondering if it's more like a codependency there, if they're with this person because it feels familiar, if this person, if it definitely doesn't seem healthy. But who cares? I'm all about letting go, these days, and wishing people the best, because once you learn how to embody that energy and just let people go on and just do what they're going to do and just wish them well, that's the energy that's going to come towards you, your person, like I said early in the video. I'm just trying to catch up with this. It's going so fast. I'm sorry. This chat's going pretty quick. Thoughts on big age gaps in relationships? I say the 5-year age gap is always the best. Anywhere between that 5 years, 6 years. You start getting into the 10 and the 15 years, and unless you guys are really, we talked about that trajectory, unless you guys are really on the same path as far as that where we're going, and you have a clear sight on exactly how things are going to play out 5, 10, 15, what kind of relationship goals you have, marriage goals, house goals, children goals, career, all that stuff, then you're in a good spot. But there's going to be some times when you get up in the 10 to 15 year age gaps where you're going to have these differences that can't be ignored, more like generational differences, difference in opinions. People that are younger these days, they have more of a liberal view on things, but when you're older, not so much. So there's going to be some things that really struggle. You're really going to be struggling with when it comes to those different age gaps. To be honest, I follow your channel to learn to detect people who are DA, but once I pinpoint it, then I leave them alone. I am not investing. That is the point. The point of it is to understand what type of person you're seeing or you're dealing with, making a conscious decision to continue to be with that person or not. Because what happens is we see these things, we see the red flags, and we see the deal breakers in people. We fall in love with the potential, but for whatever reason, we can't detach from that person, or we stick with them, and then we play the victim in the end and say, well, they did this and they never did that. But it's like most of the time they're telling you what their patterns are and what they do. I was on a call with a client, and this person told this, we'll call it, this woman, this person told this woman that I don't go past, relationships I've been in don't go past 2-3 months. And then this person took it as a personal challenge, like, okay, well, you're consistent with me, you're constantly showing up. I think I'm going to be the exception to this rule that you've had, or maybe these people just weren't me. Like even myself, I've got myself in a situation where I'm like, well, other people ain't Coach Court, so I can work my way through this. False. That's egotistical. That's not realistic. People can only go as far as what they've been through. And it sucks because the ego likes to challenge. And when you're caught in those moments that are very, I guess, engulfing, very memorable, you forget about what they've told you in the beginning, which is relationship. I've never been in a relationship longer than 2-3 months. So once that 3-month deadline starts to come up, you start to get a little giddy. You start to remember some of the things that they told you. But then you're like, all right, well, I can make it past it. Or let's say you did. Let's say you made it 6 months. And then things just go to what. And you look back like, well, they said that they weren't able to go past 3 months, but they're with me for 6 months. They've been seeing me for 6 months. I guess I'm different. A little bit. You may have been showing up just the right amount to not make them deactivate and pull away. But at the end of the day, if they haven't done the work on themselves to completely do things differently, then it's inevitable. That there's always going to be that little ticking time bomb in the longevity of the relationship. Do you have a rule for how long to date exclusive without commitments before it's done and over? I say you have to give yourself that timeline. I'm confused. Wait, do you have a rule for how long to date exclusive without commitments? Okay. I think that's up to you. You have to really figure it out. How much of your life are you willing to give? We have to view our time very differently. We give our time. I got this written down right there. Whenever people start to feel like, I don't know my worth, like you give your time to the highest bidder. Like if you think about where you're working right now, your employer, let's say they're paying you $30 an hour. At that moment in your life, you felt like $30 an hour was what you were worth. Like, this is what I can deserve. For what I'm bringing to the table in this company, $30 is good. $30 is good. I can do that. For an hour, 40 hours a week, $30 an hour, that's a pretty good wage. But then it's hard for you to go backwards from that wage. Once you start to learn that, once you start to earn that, it's the same thing in relationships. You have to know what you're worth. Like, I won't be willing to deal with cheating anymore. Like, I don't no, I don't I'm I don't deal with that anymore. And that's what you should be thinking to yourself. So as far as your time, it's like, what is my time worth now? Like, now I know when I get to a certain level of not only career success, but also relationship success, you know what your time's worth now. So giving someone a day, if you go on a date with someone, you're giving that time to that person. It's actually Jim Rohn talked about this too. That you won't let people waste your time. Or was it Bob Proctor? No, one of them. But he said if someone wants to come up to you and say, "Hey, you got 10 minutes," and you say, "Yeah, I got 10 minutes," but if you monetize that time and you think about, all right, I just gave this person 10 minutes when that's worth X amount of dollars, you start to transition that over to your dating life too. It's like this date that I went on, it was a complete failure. I could have been making content, or I could have been working double shift, or I could have been doing this and that. So how much time are you willing to give that person? That's got to be a decision that you need to make. I can't make that. I can give you a template, but that's going to be up to you. Astro, do not give up on your chain. All right. Hi, coach. My question, no contact 6 weeks with DA. I want to go to the gym, but I risk running into him. We both train early morning. Should I stay away? I don't want him to take my gym time away. Then don't let him take your gym time away. It's going to be tough and it's going to be awkward, but what's the goal? Why are you at the gym? You're there to improve yourself, your self-worth. It's what they say, he can't have two sheriffs in town. Maybe he'll get to the point where he can't stand seeing you, or can't stomach seeing you anymore. But it's been 6 weeks, and I don't know if you've forgoed going to the gym for that 6 weeks, but I say get back in the gym. You have every other right. You have every right to be there as he does. So, advice, I don't know if you can tweak the time a little bit or what, but I would say go. This is personal development. I don't understand how you could throw away 4 years, but he did so. I'll improve. And that's the thing, Astro. Do you see it as a waste of 4 years? Because you can check my Instagram right now. I just posted a quote today. I think so. I think it was today about that. And it goes, heavy on being grateful for the time someone gave you and not being bitter about them not giving you anymore. That kind of sums it all up. Be grateful for what he did give you. And if he doesn't want to give you anymore, so be it. I know what my time's worth. You got this. That's what we're here for. All right. And I got to wrap it up because I got an appointment. But this is what we're here for. And I appreciate you guys. Really do. Thank you again. Personal development. I'm all about it. I wish I never listened to the other dating coaches. I didn't even feel a need to be exclusive. Just thought I was supposed to be in order to be respected. Yeah, you got to be careful about those things. It's your life. Someone told me once, they said, you are your own therapist. You're your own best therapist. You're your own best coach. You just got to tune into it. You got to listen to yourself. When you're hungry, your body talks to you. Your stomach talks to you. When you have this intuition, your stomach talks to you. You feel these uneasy feelings in your stomach. And you just have this deep knowing. You just do. There's no videos on rebounds with the guy they said was just a friend. I think this will be an interesting topic for you to cover. Yeah, when they have that person that's just like a friend, that's my play brother or my play sister, they're just a friend. And it came out of nowhere. Now I can see that this person was just there since before he got there. and you got some good insight on whether, just how close and chummy they've been. But if it was someone that just came out of nowhere, like the new guy at work or the new girl, the new bartender at the bars, then I'd be starting to, and they're talking about that person, my spidey senses would be tingling, because usually that's them saying in code that I like this person, and if you don't get it together, they like me back. So I've seen it too many times. Now that's like my truth. Like now I know if this new person starts popping up out of nowhere. I think they're trying to exit stage right. So grateful for the time we had, just not the way he dropped this bomb on me after we had a wonderful day evening. 1 week after I was in an accident resulting in a concussion. Man, yeah, that's definitely a terrible time to be abandoned. But if you look back on it, if you look at how relationships fall apart, it always happens that way. Somebody's parent has just gotten diagnosed with cancer, or you just lost your job, or this happened a lot during COVID. You lost your job, or you just got into a car accident, or you just got diagnosed with something that's life altering, and then they just kind of just leave. And I know it sounds crappy, but I've seen it too many times. Or you're pregnant and then they decide to leave you for another girl. Like it kind of usually was it's kind of how it happens. You usually get left at your most vulnerable states by the people who you can trust, you thought you can trust the most. But if you just see things like that, just kind of like you don't really have any feelings about it, you just expect it. You kind of just like, all right, well, there's a good chance that things may change. A lot of times when I coach men, and I always ask them, I said, so what happened? Are you happy with your job? Did you just lose your career? Just lose your job? Or, and most times than not, they say, yeah, I kind of fell into a depression. I lost my job and this and that. It's like, well, usually people don't stick around for those type of things. No matter what their words are saying, like they may be saying, yeah, I'll be with you to the end, but let it actually happen. Then you see. Any suggestions on helping APFA with the complex PTS? That's a lot for me to digest on a quick question. Would you look at my situation and give me advice moving forward? I feel stuck. I know you have to go, but even if you're able to respond later. I don't know if you sent me an email or not, but honestly, I'm getting a ridiculous amount of emails right. I'm trying to keep up. I really am, but it's hard. I have an ex who is both a DA and stubborn at the same time, and we're on 6 weeks of no contact. I hurt her and she dumped me because of my anxiety. Should I reach out to her on the 8th week? I guess there's a lot of different things to unpack there, like the age of the relationship, how far you pushed her away when you were in your anxious state, her history, what she's dealt with, what she dealt in relationships in the past. So it's just a little bit to unpack there. I can't give you a simple answer on that one. It's earlier in the chat. I don't know if I can go back. I got to get to this appointment for real though. I will try to make these more regular. I appreciate you guys as always. I'm going to talk to you guys later. You can follow me on my other social medias. Instagram is I'm Coach Court. Send me an email. I'm trying to get these email things in order here where I can really come up with a system. I have an email newsletter where I pick a random person every week and I'll send out a Friday email newsletter responding to that person, as well as the video of the week and the quote of the week. And I appreciate you guys. I'm friend with all my exes, nothing sexual. Is that okay? Well, it's okay until that person tells you that it's not okay. Lata. So if you were to meet someone and then his standard was, all right, I'm not okay with you having these guys hanging around, because usually what that looks like is like you have a hard time closing that door to that person, which means it's going to cause some unnecessary conflict. And for me personally, I don't see a reason to be friends with your exes. It didn't work out for a reason. And I don't know if that's a jealous part of me. I don't think it is, but I also just feel like it's inappropriate, because if someone was to say to me, I don't see a reason for you to be still friends. And it also depends on what does friends look like. Do friends communicate every day? Are you texting every day? Are you flirting in the comment section? I mean, what does that look like? And if that's the case, then you have to ask yourself, why do I need to hold on to these people from my past and not be totally present? Right. Love you guys. Namaste. Hope you have a good rest of your week. Peace.